September is National Bourbon Heritage Month here in the USA. Now sure, Scotland might have whiskey, France may have wine, but America has bourbon. Hey everyone, I'm Dave with Beast Made Reviews, of course a channel dedicated to reviewing quality at different price points. Now today I have a video that is not something I normally talk about, and if you watch some of my recent unboxing haul videos of Weird Gear of the Week, you may have noticed that I had a couple of bottles of some bourbons that I got recently from a couple of different companies. Well today I want to show you those, and I want to show you some other ones that I got as well. And in honor of our national spirit, and to celebrate National Bourbon Heritage Month, I have 12 bourbons that I want to show you today that I think are fantastic. And though it's September right now, you can celebrate this all year long, and you should, responsibly of course. And if you like this type of kind of offbeat content, of course you can subscribe here. I normally talk about fashion, EDC, gear, anything in between, anything cool. I think you really like it here. Now, of course, because of the nature of this style of video, this is not going to be monetized by YouTube. And if you want to help support the channel and buy something cool along the way, I'll have some links to some really good pieces. Those are affiliate links. Anytime you buy through that, they will help support the channel. But just go have a look. I think you really enjoy them, and thank you so much. Now, I'm going to try to race through these suggestions. These are all really great. I don't really have any criteria for mentioning these. Usually on the channel, I like to feature brands that are on the smaller side. Micro brands or newer brands, I like featuring those type of products from those brands. So these are not going to be a lot of the big names in the industry. You know who they are. They make great bourbons as well. These are just some that I really like and I think you would really enjoy. And some of these you probably haven't even heard of, so definitely go check these out. All right, first one here is by Houghton Young, and this is the Bottled and Bond Bourbon. Now, Houghton Young is a really cool brand started by co-founder Norm Houghton. He's a retired Army veteran who fought in Operation Gothic Serpent in 1993, also known as the Battle of Mogadishu, and that was forever memorialized by the movie Black Hawk Down. And if you've watched the movie, he was Hoot, played by Eric Bana. Now, Houghton Young has a bunch of different spirits, bourbons, and cigars on their website as well, and their Bottled and Bond Bourbon is their latest offering that they just released this year. And I've also tried their rye, their Operation Gothic Serpent rye, which I think is amazing, but this new Bottled and Bond Bourbon is also really, really good. It's a straight Kentucky bourbon, 50% ABV, 100 proof, made with a mash bill of 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% distiller's malt, and they say it pairs well with one of their Ma Deuce cigars. Now, the Bottled and Bond moniker is kind of a way to ensure that this comes from the USA. Unlike European spirits, where that certain spirit has to come from a particular place, Scotch has to come from Scotland, Merlot has to come from France, Port has to come from Portugal, bourbon can come from anywhere. But in the 1800s, the United States created the Bottled and Bond regulation, which made specific regulations for bourbon to be made and stored in bonded warehouses in the USA. It began as a way to ensure the quality of the bourbon and to make sure there were no adulterants in there because people were trying to make really bad bourbon at the time. But nowadays, it's really there to just say this was made in the USA, guaranteed to be made by regulation in the USA. Now, as for what I get out of this, I only have a few different flavors that I get in bourbon generally, but I definitely get oak, cinnamon, some slight toffee. It's spice forward with some caramel and has a good bit of bite as well. It's very good. And again, I also suggest the rye as well. The rye was fantastic. All right, next choice here is by Penelope Bourbon, and this one is the Penelope Bourbon Cigar Sessions Chapter 1. Now, because Houghton Young sent a couple of things my way, it really got the wheels kind of turning, and around this time, I found out that Penelope Bourbon made a new bourbon whiskey blend that was supposed to pair well with cigars. And in this case, they made it with Sin Coburn of Dissident Cigars and Lee Marsh of Stolen Throne Cigars. Now, this really excited me. I hadn't heard about this before. I knew a lot of people paired these two things together, but something made specifically for this pairing really was interesting. I hadn't heard of Penelope Bourbon up until this point, but Penelope Bourbon was started by a husband and wife team. They wanted to make bourbon that celebrated life's pleasures, and they named it after their daughter Penelope. And now I guess they're super successful. They're sold in all 50 states as well as 7 other countries. Now this is a limited release, and it's a bourbon whiskey blend. It's made up of straight bourbon, American single malt, and American light whiskey aged 6 years. It's bottled at 100 proof and is meant to complement the flavors of a medium body cigar. But even if you take that aspect out of it, just ignore that part. It is just a really good whiskey on its own, really good bourbon. It has a mash bill of 72% corn, 15% rye, and 13% malted barley. And though it's not really a full bourbon on its own, I really had to put this in the list just because it's a bourbon blend made by Penelope Bourbon, and it's very balanced. I get some heat with some caramel and oak, and a slight hickory smokiness as well. Then there's some fruitiness, and it's just a really nice medium-bodied whiskey blend. And for more information on this and any pairings, you have to go to BMR2. Coming soon. All right, next is the Garrison Brothers Small Batch. Now, Garrison Brothers is the first legal distillery in Texas making bourbons, and they produce their bourbons from grain to glass in High Texas. And as the name suggests, this is a family-run business with several Garrisons on the team there. Now, Texas is just different. Texas is not the first place you would think of with a bourbon. And that's actually the beauty of this. Their climate and terroir is very different than Kentucky, and because of that, their bourbons are very different. Their small batch is their biggest seller and has won numerous awards. It's a very full-bodied bourbon, and it really packs a punch. It's Texas straight bourbon whiskey, 94 proof, with a mash bill of #1 food-grade corn, wheat, and barley. It's very smooth with a lot of heat. It's thick on the palate with a lot of caramel, vanilla, toffee, nutmeg, and then banana and woody oak. The oakiness here is less charred and more kind of a woody oak. I really like this bourbon a lot. This is an excellent whiskey that is rich and deep and as bold and big as Texas. It's excellent. All right, next is Small Batch from Wyoming Whiskey. Now, Wyoming is a place of extremes. Their temperatures range anywhere from -66 to 115 Fahrenheit. That's crazy. That's nuts right there. And though not really known for whiskey, Wyoming Whiskey has really made a name for themselves in Wyoming and in the whiskey space. And they're really utilizing what Wyoming gives them, which is their Wyoming grain and then water from limestone aquifers. And then they age everything at least 5 years. And interestingly enough, it's made in Kirby, Wyoming, that has a population of 76. They're the first legal distillery in Wyoming. Small Batch is their bourbon and is their flagship of their line. It's aged 5 years, 88 proof, and though I can't find the mash bill on this, all I see is that it's made of non-GMO wheat, corn, and barley, sourced from local farms in Byron, Wyoming. Now, right away, this bourbon has a lot of bite at the front, but I also get pecan and brown sugar, some nutmeg, slight oak, and slight vanilla. It's a really wonderful bourbon with a lot of depth and bite. Really good flavors here. I really like this a lot. All right, next are a suite of bourbons from Bardstown Bourbon Company. Now, when talking about bourbon, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Bardstown, Kentucky, which is the bourbon capital of the world. This is the epicenter of bourbon in Kentucky, and if you go to their website from just the city's website, there's tons of links to just distilleries there. And one of the leaders in this town is Bardstown Bourbon Company, which is a relatively new and more modern distillery started in 2014. They have just grown tremendously, and they really have an innovative approach to the bourbons, and they sent me several here, so I'm gonna have to just race through all of these. But long story short, I love their bourbons, and I think each one of these is truly exceptional. So let's get to the first one here. The first one is the Bardstown Bottled and Bond Origins. Now, this is 100 proof, aged 6 years. It's made with a mash bill of 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. This is super smooth, very balanced, and seems to pair well with a lot of different things. There's a little bit of heat, but it's very enjoyable. I get apple, bananas, nuts, oak, a slight sweetness, and the flavors really have this kind of depth, and it's almost like a stew of flavors. I really love this a lot. Next is the Bardstown Origins Straight Kentucky Bourbon. This is 96 proof, aged 6 years, with a mash bill of 60% corn, 30% rye, and 4% malted barley. Now, this has a little bit more bite and heat than the previous one. There's nutmeg, a good bit of fruit, some cinnamon candy like Red Hots, some clove. It's very interesting. Next is the Bardstown Origins Wheated Bourbon. This is 106 proof, aged 6 years, with a mash bill of 53% corn, 39% wheat, and 8% malted barley. Now, this is really smooth. It's kind of in between the previous two here. There's just a slight heat. I get apples, caramel, a slight peanut, and some woody oak. This is really great. I know, I sound like a broken record. It's really good. I like this one a lot. The next two here are limited edition bourbons. They'll do collaborations with different people in the industry, distillery. So these next two are two of their latest limited collaborations. The first one is Bardstown number 13. This is 110.8 proof, and it has a long mash bill because it's a blend of a few different bourbons, an 8-year, a 9-year, and a 15-year bourbon. It's double barreled in American and Hungarian oak barrels, and this one is really smooth and complex. I get a slight cinnamon and nutmeg at the top, some pear, and a lot of wood. I get oak and hickory as well, but it's very woody. And I actually like that in this case. A very interesting bourbon that is really, really excellent. Next is the Bardstown Ferrand, but it's a collaboration with Ferrand Cognac. It's 111.8 proof. It's a blend of 6-year, 9, 11, and 12-year whiskeys finished in Ferrand Cognac casks. And this one is really good too. I do pick up some of the kind of cognac type of flavors in this. Also get peanuts and toasted oak, a slight vanilla. It's very interesting and different than other bourbons out there. So yeah, Bardstown is no joke. They are really excellent, so definitely go check those out. All right, and last but certainly not least are several bourbons from Green River. Now, Green River is located in Owensboro, Kentucky, and they were started in 1885. They're the 10th oldest distillery in Kentucky, and that says a lot since there's so many distilleries in Kentucky. And they source local grains and make everything on site. They're a classic Kentucky bourbon company that make their bourbons in a classic Kentucky way with a sour mash as opposed to a sweet mash. Now, either way you make a bourbon with a sour mash or a sweet mash, they each have their advantages, but sour mash is the traditional way that you make it. It's the way that Jack Daniel's and Jim Beam make theirs. They sent me a few of their bourbons as well as a rye, which I'm not going to get to in this video, but it's also excellent. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Now, the first one here is the Green River Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, this one is 90 proof with 70% corn, 21% winter rye, and 9% malted barley. There's a lot of great flavors like vanilla and caramel and peanut, and some oak woodiness on the finish. Next is the Green River Wheated Bourbon. Now, this is 90 proof. It has a mash bill of 70% corn, 21% wheat, and 9% malted barley. Some of the flavors on this are nutmeg, toasted oak, banana, and a slight cinnamon. And the last one here is the Green River Straight Bourbon Full Proof. And this is 117.3 proof. It's a small batch with select barrels and bottled at barrel strength. It has a mash bill of 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. And this one has a lot of bite and a lot of heat. Also a lot of sweetness as well. It's very pleasant, though it's strong. It has caramel, toffee, and brown sugar as some of the notes, with an oaky finish on the end. Overall, these are exceptional bourbons, and I hope you give some of these a try. I love that bourbon is such an American drink and is such a classic, iconic spirit that works well on its own, with some ice, even with some water. As a cocktail, you can do a lot with it. But there's a lot of places making great American bourbons, so I really hope you give these a shot. So definitely go and check some of these out, and of course, celebrate and drink responsibly. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with Peace Made Reviews.